Imagine you're swimming in the ocean and suddenly you feel a presence lurking beneath. Yes, we're talking about sharks. Often mistaken as mindless man-eaters, these misunderstood predators are far from the villains we've painted them to be. In fact, the vast majority of sharks pose no threat to humans whatsoever. Now, this isn't to discount the fear that many of us feel when we think of sharks. It's a primal fear, deep-seated and visceral, that's been fueled by sensationalist media and Hollywood blockbusters. But let's set the record straight. Sharks are not intentionally dangerous to humans. Most shark attacks on humans are a case of mistaken identity. Imagine a surfer on a board seen from below, appearing remarkably similar to a seal, a favorite snack of some shark species. It's an unfortunate mishap, not a premeditated assault. At other times, sharks bite out of curiosity. They don't have hands to explore their world, so they use their mouths instead. And while a nibble from a curious shark can indeed be serious due to their size and power, it's important to remember that these incidents are extremely rare. So while sharks are not the ruthless killers we often make them out to be, some encounters with these majestic creatures have resulted in some truly chilling tales. The year was 1916, a series of attacks that would inspire the infamous movie Jaws. It was a time of innocence and carefree summer days along the New Jersey shore. The ocean was a playground, a place of joy and relaxation. But that summer, everything changed. Within a span of 12 days, the Jersey shore transformed into a scene of terror. 4 people lost their lives, and 1 was severely injured in a series of shark attacks that sent shockwaves across the nation. The first victim was Charles Van Sant, a 25-year-old Philadelphia resident vacationing in the resort town of Beach Haven. As he was enjoying an evening swim, a shark attacked him, causing fatal injuries. 5 days later, Charles Bruder, a bellhop at a local hotel in Spring Lake, met a similar fate. The attacks did not stop there. On July 12, the shark moved inland to the brackish waters of Matawan Creek, claiming the lives of 2 more victims. Lester Stillwell, a local boy of 11, was swimming with friends when he was attacked. His would-be rescuer, 24-year-old Stanley Fisher, also fell victim to the shark. The final victim was Joseph Dunn. He was attacked later the same day, but, unlike the others, he survived, although he carried the scars of the encounter for the rest of his life. These attacks sparked a nationwide panic. Bounties were placed on sharks, and beaches were deserted as the public feared another attack. Scientists speculated on the species and behavior of the shark, while newspapers sensationalized the story, feeding the fear. This series of attacks remains one of the most infamous in history, largely due to the widespread fear it triggered. The Jersey Shore attacks of 1916 were not just a terrifying incident, but a pivotal moment that changed our perception of these incredible creatures. It served as a harsh reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the respect it commands. But above all, it was a wake-up call, a stark realization that we share our world with creatures far more powerful and mysterious than us. Fast forward to 1945, a World War II tragedy unfolds in the Pacific Ocean. In the waning days of the war, an American warship, the USS Indianapolis, meets a catastrophic end. On its way back from delivering components for the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, a Japanese submarine ambushes the unsuspecting ship, torpedoing it into oblivion. In a matter of minutes, the mighty vessel sinks beneath the waves, taking with it hundreds of the crew. But for those who survived the initial explosion, a nightmare scenario awaits in the open sea. Picture this, nearly 900 men, stranded in the shark-infested waters of the Pacific, with nothing but life jackets and a few rafts. The sun beats down on them during the day, causing severe sunburns and dehydration. At night, the cold seeps into their bones, threatening hypothermia. But the most terrifying threat lurks beneath the surface: sharks, attracted by the sound, the flailing, and the blood. Over the course of 5 days, these predators pick off the survivors one by one. The men are helpless, unable to defend themselves or escape. Some are taken as they sleep, others as they float alone, separated from their fellow sailors. The water turns red around them and their screams echo across the vast, indifferent ocean. By the time help finally arrives, only 316 men are left alive. The rest have succumbed to the elements, to exhaustion, to despair, and to the sharks. The survivors are rescued, but their ordeal leaves them forever marked. They carry with them the harrowing memories of their fallen comrades, and the terror of their 5 days adrift in a sea of sharks. The horrifying ordeal of the USS Indianapolis survivors is a grim reminder of how dangerous the ocean can be when humans are left at its mercy. The Pacific coast of the US witnessed a slew of brutal shark attacks in the early fall of 1984 over a 2-week period. The first victim, 28-year-old Omar Conger of San Jose, California, was an abalone diver. He and his friend, 33-year-old Chris Rem, were finishing up a dive near Pigeon Point, a beach south of San Francisco, when Rem spotted the unmistakable outline of a shark approaching Conger. Rem was only 20 feet away in the water holding onto a floating dive mat when he witnessed that Conger was violently dragged underwater by the shark. He could see his companion was being shook around while in the grip of its jaws, this very act slashing his friend's body with its serrated teeth. Eventually, the shark released Conger, only to now head towards Rem before suddenly darting away. Rem quickly swam to Conger and pulled him up onto the dive mat and headed to shore. However, by the time they reached the shore, Conger had died, the result of a loss of blood flowing through his body. It had all seeped out into the ocean behind them. News reports said this unprovoked attack was perpetrated by a 15-foot great white shark. Rem said Conger was breathing when he pulled him up onto the raft, but thinks he was dead by the time they got onto the beach. 2 divers at the scene noted that they were within 100 feet of Conger and said they were unaware the shark attack had happened until they heard Rem yelling on shore. It should be noted that Conger was wearing a black wetsuit. Black wetsuits are said to attract sharks. Experts say that when divers put on a wetsuit, they're essentially disguising themselves as harbor seals. So in all reality, the shark probably just rode the waves and thinking he got himself a tasty seal lunch. Following this unprovoked attack, signs were posted at beaches asking the public to avoid the ocean, and yet 3 more attacks from sharks occurred within the period of a fortnight. A minority of the public seemed to be relatively unfazed by these incidents, as it was noted that a few hours later surfers were seen in the area riding blue waves in, as the red blood of Omar Conger had already settled into the sea. Fast forward to 1992, to the beach city of Recife, Brazil, known as the shark attack capital of the world. This picturesque city, known for its sparkling beaches and vibrant culture, would soon be recognized for a far more sinister reason. The trouble began with the construction of a new port. Now, you might ask, how could a port cause shark attacks? The answer lies in the disruption of the local shark populations. The building project altered the coastal ecosystem, causing a dramatic shift in the shark's natural hunting grounds. Imagine being a shark, used to freely roaming the open ocean, suddenly finding your habitat reduced, your food sources scarce. You'd be forced to venture closer to the shores in search of food, wouldn't you? And that's precisely what happened in Recife. In the years that followed the port's construction, the number of shark attacks skyrocketed. Swimmers and surfers, once carefree in the warm Brazilian waters, now found themselves sharing the waves with these formidable predators. The azure waters of Recife became a hunting ground, the tranquility shattered by the fear of the unseen lurking beneath. Efforts were made to reduce the attacks. Shark nets were installed, lifeguards were trained in shark behavior, and public education campaigns were launched. However, despite these efforts, the attacks didn't cease. It seemed the sharks had developed a taste for the city's beaches, and they weren't ready to give up their new hunting grounds. The tale of Recife is a stark reminder of how human activities can inadvertently alter the delicate balance of nature, leading to unforeseen consequences. It's not only a tale of sharks and humans, but also a story about respect and cohabitation with the natural world. Despite efforts to reduce the attacks, Recife remains a hotspot for shark encounters. It's quite a chilling fact that when we disturb nature's balance, it's not just the animals that pay the price, we do too. From the Jersey Shore to Recife, shark attacks have left a lasting mark on our collective consciousness. However, understanding their behavior and respecting their habitats can significantly reduce risks. These tales of loss remind us of our duty to coexist with these magnificent creatures while emphasizing the need for safety in the ocean. Remember, sharks are not the villains of our oceans, but an essential part of the ecosystem. Stay safe, respect marine life, and the ocean will reward you with its wonders. Don't forget to subscribe to the Wealth, Health and Truth channel, and please comment below your thoughts on these shark encounters. Until next time, we've what you want.